Stay tuned. I'm here with Coach John Brett.
I'm here with the vet, Ian Griffin.
Man, it's a beautiful day today.
Sure is. It's even more beautiful because we don't have to look at that hair you had on your neck. Look at that. Wow. You said that to me the other day, and I asked you, are you about to re-enlist?
Well, you know what? I told you I was going for my New Year's resolution. I was going to lose weight.
Yes.
I dropped 5 pounds on the haircut. I promise you that.
You're 5 in. It's like a water cut.
Yeah, so now I got to get serious about it, I guess.
Yeah.
About some weight loss, but yeah, I'm not getting serious, but I'll chop some off. But anyway, so man, what's going on in Texas? We have this, first of all, is it fall or is it spring? I mean, it's March, but it feels like fall because it's like still raking leaves in my yard.
Yeah, and I'm in T-shirts one day, and the other day I'm cranking, I think it was yesterday morning, I cranked the car up in the morning before work because it's so cold, and today it's like I went to do that, and I didn't need to.
Yeah. So, hey, today we're going to talk about Governor Abbott's no mask, get everybody back to business policy that came out that if you support conservatism, you kind of like it, and if you don't, you say well, it's a political ploy or some other conspiracy theory, like the Pope's holding an alien or something.
Sure.
So we're going to discuss that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I think it's a good time for the state. I don't understand how everything has just gotten to be so political, but everything is. If something happens with a Republican governor or a mayor, then the left is nuts about it and vice versa. I just don't really, I would love for there to be something that one politician does and everybody goes, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I will hit a little politics on it a little bit because I'm going to throw my jabs in there. But at the end of the day, the mask is not political. How you see it and how I see it might be different. But this is my deal. Hey, if you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask.
Right.
And if you do want to wear a mask, wear the mask.
I don't think there should be mask shaming or shaming that you're not wearing.
Yeah. And if you don't like it, that you're going somewhere where they're not wearing a mask, then don't go.
Absolutely. It's like if I love to go to Starbucks. Yeah. They literally have been the only place, and I said this on social media the other day, the only place in my area that has been very consistent from day one. If you're going to be in here, you have to have a mask. They will send you out. All the other places, would you like a mask? And say on the door, you must have a mask, and nobody has a mask.
Well, I've seen some places around here that have had the sign that says, we will not infringe on your liberties. If you want to wear a mask, so be it, but we're not ever going to require you to do that because we just want you for your business, not for what you believe in.
Right.
I
don't really understand the difference right now. Like if you want to wear a mask is you feel like you want to protect yourself and your family when you go home and you want to be protected from other people. Because there's different reasons on why people wear masks.
Yep.
Then wear your mask. If you're someone that feels like I do, my personal opinion is I've had COVID. I could possibly get it again. I don't know if I'm going to get the vaccine or not. I haven't made that decision. My job hasn't made us do that. If they did, then, I could either go get a new job or I could do what my job says. But I believe the personal responsibility and the personal touch of all this is if you want to wear one, wear it. If you don't. And don't tell me either way what I should be doing or shame me.
Yeah. I'm like this. I'm excited. People want to go back to work. Heck yeah. People need to do that. If you've been sitting on the sideline and you had a job and it's been paused, we're going to get rid of that. And I like that. This hit the national scene because, sometimes things in Texas hit national level. And, of course, the president come out and said it's Neanderthal way of thinking. And I like how he's unifying us like that, to be quite honest with you. And but he's saying that.
Unifier in chief.
Mm-hmm. Unify by submission is his philosophy, I believe. But calling us all Neanderthals down here for not thinking the way he does. Well, I'm sorry, we don't think the way you do because we live in a state that very much appreciates the fact that you're independent and you're grown up enough to make your own decisions and you don't need that puppet up there to tell you how to do it or the master of the puppet to tell you how to do it, to be quite honest. Right. But he said that at the same time that he allowed 105 illegal aliens come in that tested positive for COVID that they released into the state.
And I've heard a lot of different, points of view on that, Abbott could have taken some help from the federal government for that and refused to do it. So it allowed, but my thing is, why would you allow anybody in without being tested at the federal government? Because that's a federal border.
Yes,
it is Texas, but that's federal. So why in the federal government testing everyone and say, okay, we're going to hold you for this. If you're taking a COVID test, it takes 24 to 48 hours and you want to come to this country, either you step back on the other side, buddy, or you're getting a holding. And that's what we should be doing. We're just going to let them in and they go, oh my gosh, can we just let 105 in?
Yeah, when you fly into the country, when you fly to other countries, you're quarantined.
Absolutely.
But I guess if you become illegal, you get certain rights. So I don't know. So you had that part, and then you had, the famous punk rock star, Beto O'Rourke, the table stander upper, because he likes to stand on everybody's tables when he talks. In his vast position of authority, come out, criticize the governor as well. Of course, he's aspiring to be governor. And I just got some suggestions there in regards to him, is go back and get your band back together, buddy, because I'm just saying, there's not much of a bigger joke than you, to be quite frank. But I'll just say it like that. That's just my personal opinion.
And the scary part about it is he came within 6 or 7 points of becoming a senator in our state.
Yes,
just a few years ago. I mean, what the heck, people?
He lost by 2 million in our state, but it was 6% or 7%. He came close. And, we got the California Mecca down in Austin.
I don't know if that's so much as him not being, or him being a good candidate, or Ted Cruz being looked at as such a fringe candidate.
Well, I think he rode that little wave, kind of like when we talked with Cuomo, is, oh, God, he got put on a cover of a magazine. He's our golden child. And then out of state dumping of money into our state because they said, oh, we actually have a chance to turn this state red. Well, I'm telling you, you got about another 10, 15 years till that happens, to be quite frank. But anyway, so then I heard that, Governor Abbott only pushed this policy to divert the attention from the Texas energy crisis.
That's politics.
And I think that's a crock of shit, to be honest, because it was very calculated. He did it on Texas Independence Day. What resonates more with independence than having your rights given back to you, So I think that's a crock of crap, to be quite honest. And I think it's, I won't say words like Neanderthal and all that other thing. I think that's very short-sighted.
Is that very similar to deplorable?
Neanderthal will be. I will tell you, deplorable and Neanderthal, they will resonate together. And I don't know if I told you this or not, Coach, but when President Trump, I happened to be down here on vacation from the military, when President Trump won presidency, and 2 days later we went to a restaurant in Mount Pleasant. And there's about 50 people in their 60s in there. My wife and I went in there, and we were exchanging conversation with a couple of them. And my wife said, yeah, he grew up here in the military, and they knew my grandfather. And all of a sudden, one guy stood up out of the 50 and said, yeah, fella, not too bad for a bunch of deplorables. And the whole place went crazy. If you think that deplorable phrase didn't stick with people, it did. If you think that Neanderthal phrase is not going to stick with people, you're sadly mistaken, because it will.
Well, yeah, you're talking about the left is always the one that wants to be offended, wants to make sure people don't say offensive things or wrong things, and be careful with the identity that you give to someone. But the first thing that they do, it seems to be lately, is that if they don't like your policy and they can't judge it based on the policy itself, they're calling you names. Yeah. And I hate to say deplorable, Neanderthal, white privilege, whatever it is, they give you a name for it.
Yep.
Instead of just debating on the actual merits of the situation.
Now, I will say the conservative side is bad too, because they throw out snowflakes and things like that. But in regards to the Neanderthal thing, that will stick for a while, because especially since the person who's saying it, biggest agenda was, I'm running to unify the country. I am the only person in the world that can unify the country. It is me, put it on my shoulders, and I can't even hold a press conference. So that's the first thing I got in regards to that. But with this mask thing, 15 other states had already gone with that prior to this. Texas and Mississippi just had to be number 17, and Texas just has to be a little bit more political fodder than the rest. But let me just say what Governor Abbott didn't do, okay? Governor Abbott didn't tell everybody that had COVID to go to nursing homes and people died. He didn't push a policy like that. I'm just throwing it out there in case anybody's missing that in the news, because that is probably the most paramount thing in the news, is there is a governor that did that, and his name's not Abbott. So if you're going to get aroused, we'll get aroused by that, because it's a policy that led to people dying, period. Nobody else's policy
I don't think
has.
there's any debate on that anymore.
No, there's not. But it's just, we just suppress it because we don't want to talk about that. That's not as important. And then the other thing I will say in regards to Governor Abbott, is with all this stuff going on, the Texas energy crisis is going to fix itself for it's all over. Now, there are some programs they're doing in regards to it, but I personally think in regards to that, they don't need to fund money every year to it. They need to do benchmark structuring in that. I think they'll figure that out, but who knows? We'll see on all that.
Yeah.
But I cannot see where this was done solely, as some people said. This is just political bacon to say this bacon.
No, I don't believe that. Immediately, that's what people are saying about that. I think if you're on the right and you're conservative and you're anti-mask, not everyone, I'm not anti-mask. I'm just anti being told that I have to wear one because I don't want, the word mandate for me has always been like somebody dog cussed me. Don't mandate me to do something. I mean, if I need to do something because I want to protect me or my family or I want to make that decision, let me do it as an American, as a free person to go, hey, I'm going to go out in public. I don't want to get this because I could be around my mother or someone that's compromised. Like I have a compromised son. I don't want to get it. We are very, very concerned about him getting it. And there's times that there's been two of us in the house that's got COVID and we distance ourselves from him. We make sure that we did what we have to do as a family. I don't need the government to tell me what to do.
There's enough people in our state and actually in the country, if you allow them to do it, that are smart enough to make the right decisions for the family because they do it every day.
That's what I was getting to. They have somehow believed that people are so stupid that they can't take care of themselves. And we're so much of idiots that we have to be told by some dictator in Washington or some legislative branch in Washington for us to do something, or one down in Austin, or, oh my God, if they don't tell us to do it, we're all just going to die.
Just going to die.
Are you kidding me?
So this is the question. Two things I got on that is, if you're sick, stay at home, period. Stay at home. That's what you're supposed to do. If you're sick, don't go out, And if you feel that you're vulnerable, put on a mask if you're going to go out or don't go out. Simple as that.
My daughter had, what do you call it? What's the thing you get kissing when you was a kid?
Mono.
Mono. You know what we did? You can't have your friends over. You can't go to school. You can't go to your friend's house and you can't work. Why? Because we don't want you to spread that to other people.
Right.
So as a family, we don't want to compromise people. And that's what you do. If a person has the flu, you don't send them to work. If a person has a fever, you send them home. It doesn't have to be mandated. You do all these things and shame people into feeling so bad that, oh my God, he's not wearing a mask. This is the last thing I'm going to say on this. If you go to a place that says you must wear a mask and you wanted to go to that place and that personal business says, we require you to wear a mask, you either put a mask on or you take your butt somewhere else.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If you don't like the damn book, don't buy it. If you don't like the damn TV show, turn the channel. This is getting to be ridiculous.
I'll say this. I've been to Home Depot many a times, and I don't wear a mask. I have it in my pocket. I don't wear the mask in
Sure.
You know what? Many people don't wear it. You know what I don't do? I don't come within 6 feet of anybody in there. Except when I go to the cash register, I put the mask on. I'm sorry. Right. I don't come within 6 feet of somebody. Right. That is the rule. Breaking news to you. Sorry. And if we talk about the mask, we were told not to wear one. Then we're told to wear one. Then we're told that it's like the holy grail of full, it saves everybody. But I got the COVID, you know what I'm saying? And during that time, I didn't even go out. It's kind of strange. And I know people who are nurses and medical people who got it to wear the mask all the time.
Sure.
I will say this, Coach, and I have a feeling in 5 years from now, in 10 years from now, we'll still be talking about COVID, but we'll be talking about it, and we'll have pictures of drawings of things that are in museums that with the long noses that were there for the Black Death that they thought would protect the Black Death. They put garlic in. It's the same thing with the mask, because we know the mask is not foolproof.
No, it's not. But you know what? We didn't learn anything in 100 years because in the one in 1918, I believe it was 1918, there's pictures. I actually showed a documentary to my students with it, and they showed they're wearing masks back then. Yeah. They're social distancing. They're closing schools. They're closing theaters the same way. They were doing the same thing. That's what you got to do. If you want to be protected, put the mask on. If you don't want it, don't put it on. But if you have a mask on and someone doesn't, they're not giving you COVID if you think that mask works or the mask don't work at all.
Yeah. And so my whole deal is we got all our panties in the wad because one governor who...
Can you say panties in the wad?
I said it, yeah. I don't know if we can or can't. But one governor who, he's governor that's in a wheelchair that ain't afraid to ride the Rio Grande in a boat. They went down there to check on the crisis down there a couple years ago. But he's taking a lot of flack on it because it's the political thing to do. Maybe the mask shouldn't be political, and maybe it should be just a choice, and we all respect that.
Respect is gone.
Yep.
So
it's my way of thinking. I don't like how you think.
Exactly. And you cannot.
You're wrong.
You can't have an opinion. And if you do have an opinion that's against something that someone else believes, then either you're stupid, you're ignorant, or you're don't care and you're unempathetic to people, and you're just doing something against people because you think you can, because you think you're better than, and they don't put a word to it. Deplorable, white privilege, something. There's some identity coming.
So I will say this, and this will be the last thing I will talk really about it, is I went to Liberia for the Ebola crisis. Upstairs in my attic up here, I have one of the Tyvek suits that we had down there. If I was really worried about it, I'd be walking around that Tyvek suit. Sure. I can tell you that right now. I would be wearing that Tyvek suit everywhere I went until I compromised this material, which is only supposed to be 8 hours, and same thing kind of like a mask is when you have a real mask, like a chemical agent mask, you change filters out over 8 hours, clean it up, put the new filter back on. These are cloth masks. I'm just like, and you wash them, didn't you deteriorate the material, just throwing it out there. So, respect.
Yeah.
If you choose to, I'm not going to look down at you wearing it. If you don't wear one, I'm not going to look down at you wearing it. So that's
and I don't need a hashtag that says I'm wearing a mask.
Yep.
I don't need a hashtag that says your mask is stupid.
Now, Coach, one thing I will say is, if you need a mask, come on down to www.thecoachandthevet and come buy you one.
Right.
And we got you the coolest mask in town.
That's the thing is, but we're not going to tell you you have to buy it.
Yeah.
If you want to buy one, you want to wear it, do that. Unbelievable.
So I think we need to get our panties out of the wad and maybe focus on, I don't know, at the national level, people who cause people to really die would probably be a good thing to start.
Sure.
And things of that nature would be where I would focus my attention.
Forget the $1.9 trillion, that's probably about 900 billion of it's really COVID, and the rest is something else. We'll get into that, I'm sure, at some other time.
Well, actually, only 1/8 of it will go into the first year, and it goes out to like 5 years or 4 years. So it's not really that big of an emergency, apparently. So anyway, that's another story. So from the coach
to the vet.
Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.